think the timing is on this, Richard? How long would this have been in the planning? Because I'm sure that there will be cynics who can see that it's landed at a very difficult time when there might be less energy to take it on from the firm.
Wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, there are royal focuses on ill health at the moment. Let's face it, we're all concerned about the welfare of the King and the Princess of Wales. The Sussex drama is an endless drama. It carries on. Whether it was cynically done at this stage, I couldn't possibly say, but I mean, many will think that there is something in that. They've obviously been working on it for some time. These things don't come cheap. It's a complete revamp.
Wait for it.
Probably a very expensive one of their website. They're constantly going through reinvention. I mean, I don't know how many times you and I and Natasha have written about relaunches of the Sussex project. They're constantly doing it. I think one issue that Sarah touched on is interesting about, in her column, she suggested that it's time for the King to take away that title for the Parliament. I think it would have to be a parliamentary act that removed it. But that would...
Wait for it.
Elevate, if you like, Meghan to a princess, because she takes her title from her husband. You know, he is a prince. She would then become a princess. And it's interesting that on this new website, they don't use the Duchess title. It's just Prince Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
And it's almost a parenthesis there. Oh yes, we could squeeze princess in there, but we've got no room for Duchess. Duchess sounds a bit old-fashioned. So I think there are dangers in that.
No, I agree. I mean, I completely agree. But let's not forget, this is a
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
couple who trademarked their daughter's name, lilibet.com. So I think we can see where this is all going.
Then came the reports that Prince Harry wanted to return to royal duties. With Sarah Vine in the hot seat that week, Rebecca and Richard Eden
That doesn't make sense.
pick up the story here.
There was a story on the front page of the Times newspaper last Saturday, which appeared to me to be very heavily briefed by Harry's side of the equation. Whether it was done with or without his knowledge, we don't know. But effectively saying he would be keen to come back and step into the fray and undertake more royal duties while his father was ill, and obviously Princess of Wales is not well either.
Wait for it.
It also seemed to suggest that there was a kind of tacit support for the idea here. Now that immediately
From the palace?
Yeah, from the palace. That immediately rung alarm bells with me, because I just know that is not their thinking. I made some calls and was told very quickly, absolutely not. There has been not even a casual conversation about that here, that we very strongly believe from this side of things that the King, the Prince of Wales, and actually all of the family believe that Sandringham summit, the results of that still remain, where Queen Elizabeth made clear, very, very clear, her view that he could not have a half in and half out role, and if he was going to live in America and pursue commercial opportunities,
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
good luck to him, but that meant he could not be a working member of the royal
I
family.
mean, it's not as
Nothing's
simple as just
changed.
coming back and doing a couple of shifts. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just plug back into something like the royal family. Can
No, especially given what's happened over
No.
the years. Obviously, no one predicted at that Sandringham summit Harry would go on to do what he subsequently did.
Richard, what was perhaps surprising was that there were quotes from both sides confirming the story.
Yeah, I mean, this was in this Times report that that broke the story, and I think that the dilemma is that the King does, you know, he does want a reconciliation with Harry. That's the thing. So, you know, particularly with his illness, you know, he does welcome that, but
Wait for it.
you've got all the pressure of the palace and the courtiers, and no one wants that Sandringham agreement to be broken.
No.
So I think it's tricky, but I mean, certainly what I've written in my newsletter this week is that Harry has been given a taste of what to expect when his brother is king, and that's very cold, you know, that he... You know, William will veto any return, any official duties by Harry. That's just not going to happen.
No.
And so I think he's already sort of feeling that chill.
News of Harry's desire to do more royal work here coincided with a new legal case questioning his right to be in America. Richard, Eden and Rebecca explain more.
This is this really interesting case by this think tank, the Heritage Foundation, that wants to know on what basis Harry was allowed to enter the country. And it's all to do with drugs, that he, most people have to sign on the form that to say they have to declare whether they've taken illegal drugs in the past. And this
is it taken or being convicted for?
No, I think they still talk about being a drug abuser.
Right,
actually.
right.
Have you
yeah,
used drugs in the
there's
past?
various declarations that he would have had to make, and they want to know. They want this to be public, and they think there's an important matter of public interest for the Americans to know: is immigration law being respected and carried out? Because their suspicion is that it hasn't been. That there's been different rules for rich or famous people like Prince Harry than there is for your average person. That's what they're trying to find out.
Indeed. Rebecca, we've also received an unexpected intervention from good old Donald Trump.
He has, and he's made very clear that if he gains another term in office, Harry won't be getting any help from him. I'm not sure Harry would expect any help from him. I'm thinking him and Meghan particularly have nailed their colours fairly firmly to the mast on what they feel about Donald Trump.
I just don't really get why. How is that an obvious topic for Donald Trump to talk about?
No, but it was in light of this case, you see, because this is the US government that has gone to court against this think tank to explain, why they don't want to make this public. So what Trump was saying, he was asked about it, was saying, well, he wouldn't get any of those favours if I was president. So.
Are you serious?
That is actually worrying. Trump could potentially make life difficult. I mean, the thing that worries me, frankly, is we don't want him booted out of America, do we? Or he'll have to come back here, or be Harry and Meghan.
He can't afford the security.
Back to Britain, yeah. So, no, just go easy on him, Donald Trump, please.
And this is actually, it's worth pointing out, there's been a lot of ridicule around Spare at the weekend because of this, the best-selling memoir of his, because the argument by...
Wait for it.
The government is, although Harry has detailed a great deal amount of drug abuse over the years in the book, the authorities have said, well, actually, just because someone writes it doesn't mean it's necessarily true.
Oh, dear.
But of course, this book has been painted out as the one true story about Harry's life. So, I mean,
it's an interesting defence. I lied.
Yeah. I mean, this hasn't come from Harry himself, and interestingly, we've not heard a peep from
Here it comes.
Harry or from Archwell on this case at all. They're obviously watching it play out very quietly.
Like
you say, it's an interesting defence.
And it is, and I do wonder whether others who feature in the book, such as his brother Prince William, might choose to intervene.
Are you serious?
Is it, he's said that he'd attacked him physically, and we all know about the dog bowl and the broken necklace, that sort of thing. Well, was that true? Or was that something that was exaggerated?
That doesn't make sense.
In the same way as the drug use.
With Catherine still recuperating from surgery, a scandal blew up over a seemingly innocuous Mother's Day portrait of the Princess of Wales and the children released by Kensington Palace, after it was revealed that the picture had
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Been digitally manipulated. Here, Rebecca, Richard and Charlotte Griffiths explain the uproar, with many agreeing with Rebecca's comments to Catherine's Charles to just back off and leave her alone.
I think probably it's best encapsulated by a piece.
Wait for it.
I wrote for the Daily Mail on Wednesday, and I spoke to a lot of, I suppose I would describe them as allies of the princess, people in the household, outside the household, but with very close links. And
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
all of them are of one opinion, as am I have to say, that what happened shouldn't have happened. It was a mistake, but she, within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, had come online and very openly said, look, this was my fault, I'm sorry. And the people I've spoken to think, look, that should be accepted, a line should be drawn underneath it, and she should be allowed to move on. It doesn't negate the fact that there was a mistake in the first place. And I think it's worth mentioning, because it was in that piece of mine, that people I've spoken to have said that Catherine is not unaware although she doesn't have her own social media presence,
Are you serious?
she's not unaware of a lot of the speculation that we've seen about her health and welfare over recent weeks. And there's been some really vicious, nasty and slanderous stuff out there on social media. She is aware of it, and she has found it very, very upsetting. And I think, you know, all of us, I mean, we all get a lot of trolling on social media because of the jobs that we do, and that's not an nth of what she gets. And I think that's a lot of weight on her shoulders, particularly at a time where she's recovering from what clearly is serious surgery. And I think people just need to back off and leave her alone.
Why do we think it just got so crazy?
I mean, I do think it wasn't this whole situation. I do
That doesn't make sense.
think it hasn't been handled particularly well by Kensington Palace, in as much as there was a little bit of naivety that, you know, one of the world's most famous women could suddenly go out of the public eye for 3 months.
Are you serious?
And people not to speculate about it. And I think, as I said in my piece, often that speculation came from a good place, that people are very fond of her and we just want to know, is everything okay with her?
Yeah.
So I think they should have
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
come out and said something earlier rather than just wait to what they traditionally do on Mother's Day. I know that's their policy, but in this day and age, sometimes you've got to tap dance a little bit more cleverly around that. But I think what we've seen directed at her is just, you know, unbearable for anybody, let alone someone who's just trying to recuperate from really serious surgery.
And obviously, lots of people are saying, come on, it's not a big deal, it's just a devoted mother making a few edits to a family photograph which they've shared with us, which is completely true. But what turned it into a big story was, it's the first time I've ever known that an official photograph from the royal family has been rejected by the world's biggest picture agencies. And, you know, also because it's the first official photograph we've seen of Catherine since Christmas Day.